So I just have had lunch and I need to write now, but I can't write because I can't focus. And the reason I can't focus is because of what is in this package right here. In this package is my first ever proof copy. When I open this up, I will be able to hold my book in my hands for the very first time. It's all I can do not to rip open this package immediately, but I'm forcing myself to wait until my mom gets home from work because this is something that I want us to share together. But it's so hard. My heart lurches in anticipation just thinking about holding my book in my hands for the first time as a real book. This is the moment I've been waiting for 13 years of my life now. It used to be 12, but we rolled over to a new year, so now it's 13. I gotta say 13. 13 years ago, I wrote the first letter of the first word of this book. It's not even the same. It's changed a lot, but this is what I've been dreaming about. This is it. This is the one. I'm terrified to open it because I'm scared that something will be really off about it and I'll be disappointed. But at the same time, part of me is like, but what if it's perfect? And usually that's not how my brain works. Usually like a worst case scenario is like, what if it's messed up? But in this case, the stronger question here is, what if it's perfect? What if it's everything you hoped it would be? Now, I only bought one proof copy this time around because I was worried that something might have gone horrifically wrong with it, and so I didn't want to buy multiple proof copies if there was something major that I had to fix, because then I'll have to order another proof copy to make sure that it actually fixed the problem. The biggest concern I have is the map. I'm a little concerned about the spine alignment because I know some books have had problems with the spine text aligning perfectly in the center, but I also really don't think that that would be a big problem because it aligned perfectly on the preview. My cover designer did an amazing job with that. My biggest concern is the map because I set the map to bleed and I've never done that before. I've never done any of this before, but I set all of that stuff up months ago with bleed and I don't remember any of it now. I'd have to go back and re-educate myself on that, but I think it should be good, I hope, but I'm concerned that maybe it cut off something that's really important, but we will see. But yeah, I'm so excited. I always joked that one day this will be a real book, like Pinocchio being a real boy one day, and over the course of these 13 years I would rewrite and rewrite and rewrite and rewrite and rewrite this book. And I would print out the drafts and stick them in a binder, and there's nothing wrong with that, but obviously a binder is too big. It's not the size that a normal book would be, and this is the first time it's all going to come together. It's a complete book. It's got the map in there. It's got the cover art. Like, I didn't even have a cover, really, like a real cover, until recently when I decided this is it, we're publishing this book. So it's a real book now. And so the plan for this is that if everything is okay, I'm going to order a few more proof copies and give them to the people who are going to help me proofread, and we're going to go through this thing, and we're going to look for typos, we're going to look for formatting errors, just anything that's not right. And originally, this is what I had, this giant thing here that I ordered from Staples. You can see it's very thick, and that's because they didn't print the text on both sides of the page, which it turned out it was okay. But this thing is clunky, it's awkward, it's not light, and so I thought it would be easier if I gave people proof copies to work with to check for errors because it's much smaller, it's more compact, and it's easier to hold, and of course it's a proof copy, so that's what it's for. They can mark it up to their heart's content. So that is the plan that I have for this, and now I have to wait several more hours until I can rip this package open and hold this book in my hands. Can't see anything to that, can you? Look, it's perfectly aligned. Oh, we've got the bar right across the blur. That's interesting. So
The map isn't messed up the way I thought it would be, but it's messed up in the middle. Oh, that's interesting. That's why I only bought one, though. Oh my goodness! Oh my gosh.
Okay, really quickly, before the excitement wears off. Look at it! It looks so good! I'm so happy! The map is messed up as predicted, and the one, it's hard to see because they put the not for resale banner right across it. The one that tells people that this is the first book in the duology is sideways like the text, but when I'm picturing it on the bookshelf, I think I would want it to be vertical just because it's easier to read that way. So I've contacted my cover designer, and I would think that that's a really quick fix. So I anticipate she'll get back to me pretty quickly. And because it's a quick fix, I should just be able to upload the cover file again, and then there won't be any problems with the cover, the blurb, the spine, everything is aligned perfectly. I am so happy with that. The only issue is with the map, and it's probably hard to see, but I set it to bleed, so it's supposed to go all the way to the edges, but there is a little bit of a border here, and I have no clue why. I think you can kind of see it here, where there's like a white, or cream, because these are cream pages. There's like a cream little border that's not supposed to be there. I don't know what happened with that. I'm really not so concerned about that. My concern is that these places in the middle are impossible to read. This is supposed to say the glowing gates. This is where the palace is, and you can't read that. And then this is supposed to say Enchanted Forest, and again, you can't read that because the words are melded together. I don't know what happened with that. You can't really bend this book back any further. It's not like you could break the spine and suddenly read it. So I'm going to have to figure that out. That will be the project for this upcoming weekend. I also need to fix the ebook file because I'm going to have to change the map probably on the ebook as well. And I had some mistakes with the manuscript file that needed to be fixed when I was uploading the paperback manuscript file. I had some errors, and I must have fought with it for an hour and a half trying to get it fixed, and that was an absolute nightmare, but it paid off. It worked out. It looks amazing. I'm so freaking happy right now, and this is why I only ordered one proof copy though, just because obviously if something went wrong with the map, and I anticipated that it probably would, just because again I've never done this before, then I would need to fix it and then buy another proof copy to make sure that it is in fact fixed. So this weekend when I mess around with the map and try to get it where you can read it and see the whole thing, I will do some more research on bleed and maps in particular. Then I will buy some more proof copies, or at least one more, maybe two, I don't know. I think I'd have to order more than two to get the free shipping discount, but either way I will buy more proof copies, at least one, once I've made those changes. Also in regards to the one, this is not necessary to have on the spine, but as a reader myself, I think it's really helpful when a book tells you what number in the series that it is, and this is number 1, so I wanted to help people out. And there's nothing that it's a really big pet peeve of mine when you pick up a book and you're like, oh, this sounds interesting, and you have no idea that it's like number 24 in a series. That's really annoying to me, so I wanted to help out the readers as much as possible. Put the book number on the spine. We will get this figured out. We'll get it fixed. It's a super easy fix, not a big deal. And I like my little publishing logo right there. It's so cute, the little sun. I love it. I just love it. It looks so good, and it's thick. Like, this is a chunky book, but it's a fantasy, so I mean, isn't that what you want? But I'm just so happy. Like, this is a book that I have stressed over so long, so many years of my life. It's here. It's real. It's a real book. Oh my, that's a real book. I'm pre-filming this video, so I will have done all of this before you ever get to see it, but I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you guys to see this book, for me to be able to finally share it with the world and talk about it. It's overwhelming. I'm so happy. I just wanted to do a quick update on the proof copies. So, little update, and this is after the initial excitement of having my proof copies come and holding my book as a real book for the first time in my hands. that excitement has worn off a little bit. Let's turn to the practical issues. So I believe in the last clip, or one of the last clips, I mentioned that the map was not aligned correctly. Despite me activating the bleed feature, it didn't quite extend all the way to the edge of the page, and then of course in the middle, where the two pages meet at the spine, you could not possibly read it. So I have ordered a few more proof copies. I ordered 3 of them this time. This is one of them. And I'm happy to say that things have been fixed, but I'm going to talk about what went wrong and why and how I fixed it, because I think this is an important thing to talk about. I want to do as much research when I'm going into this as possible so that I make as few mistakes as possible, although I realize that completely avoiding mistakes is impossible, and so this is a learning process. This book is definitely a guinea pig. It's a learning process, and if I can help somebody else who might be wanting to do this, then that's great. So let's talk about what happened. So as you can see here, the map does extend all the way to the edge of the page, and you can read the text. However, that's because the text that was in the middle, I moved over to the right. And this was something that I just decided to do, and I'm super glad that I did, because I thought to myself, you know what, don't even bother fighting with this, just move it to the side so that it's not in the middle anymore, and you don't have to worry about people being unable to read it. This was a really good decision, because as you can see, well, maybe you can't, but in case you can't, there is no way that you could read anything in the middle. It's still too close. So if I had kept that text where it originally was, you still wouldn't be able to read it, and that's through no fault of my own. That's just the way that it is, because that is how the map is divided, and it is divided and placed in the document to where it aligns perfectly. It matches up the way it's supposed to. This spine or alignment is just too tight. You wouldn't be able to read whatever is in there. So I'm happy that I moved it to the side. But let's talk about the bleed feature. So when I set up the bleed feature, when I did the research on this and I put the map in the document, originally that was months ago, and I didn't really remember anything about it, and apparently I didn't do as much research on it as I should have, because if I had, I would have learned that you're actually supposed to make the interior page size of your document bigger than the actual print size when you're doing bleed. And in case you're confused, what I mean by that is this book is 8 by 5 and a quarter, or 5.25. That's the size of this book. And so in my original document, that was the size of the pages. I made them that size as well. But what I should have done, apparently, is made it slightly bigger. And there's a whole calculator on KDP that will help you figure out exactly what size you should make it based on the trim size of your actual book. I downloaded their actual calculator because I don't do math. But anyway, I then made the interior pages of this document the bigger size that they recommended. And what happens is that when they go to actually print the book, they cut the pages and trim them to the actual book size, so that even though you make the interior pages bigger, they're still going to be cut down to whatever size you want the actual book to be. However, when I did this in my document and I made the page size bigger, it changed the text alignment. So obviously the bigger the page, the more text you can fit on the page, and the more text you have on the page, the fewer pages you have. And this was a big problem, because my cover file was formatted for a specific number of pages, and that is 407. That is the total number of pages that are in this entire book. Not necessarily numbered pages, but the entire number of pages in the whole book. So if I changed that and we suddenly went down to, say, 380 something because I made the page size bigger, then the spine would not be aligned anymore, and just things would get messed up. So I was really worried about that, and I didn't want that, because it just sounded like way more trouble than it was worth. So I thought to myself, how in the world am I going to fix this? So what I actually did is I cheated, or at least that's what it feels like. And so I have parts of this document divided into sections, and one of the sections ends immediately after this last page with the map on it. And what I was able to do was, when you go to change the page size, you can apply it to the entire document, or you can apply it only to a specific section. So what I did was I made only this section bigger than the rest of it. So all of the pages from this page and to the front were then bigger. The rest of the document with the actual body of the novel stayed the same size. And I was like, is this going to work? This feels like cheating. I had the exact same feeling I always had in math class, where I solved a problem, and I was sure I was right because the method that I used to solve it made sense to me. How could I not be right? But inevitably I was always wrong. And so I was very anxious to get my hands on these new proof copies, because I didn't know if this would work or not. It seemed too good to be true, but it did work. Just making that section with the bleed images, or the map, bigger than the rest of it allowed me to get the bleed to work. The map now extends to the edge of the pages, and I didn't have to worry about the page count changing because I made the rest of the pages bigger or smaller and the text alignment changed. So I was very, very, very grateful for that. Now, let's talk about one thing I did notice. So this time around I ordered 3 proof copies. I only ordered 1 the first time around because I anticipated something going wrong, namely this exact issue that went wrong, and this time I decided to order 3 because even if my fix didn't work, this would still work to give people a proof copy to proofread. Luckily it did work. Now I can just give this to people and they can proof it, and then I can fix any mistakes that they may find. However, one issue that I did notice, having bought 3 proof copies this time, and I don't have all 3 of them to hold up as examples, or I would, but one thing I noticed is that one of the 3 proof copies, the bleed feature didn't work all the way. The map didn't extend all the way to the edge of the page, and that was only on 1, and it was only on one small section of the map. It didn't quite make it all the way. And I also noticed on one of the 3 proof copies that the spine wasn't quite aligned. I mean, it wasn't anything that you'd notice if you didn't have anything to compare it to, and me being a perfectionist and this being my book, of course I noticed. But on that particular proof copy, there was less room here than there was here. In fact, this might be the copy, I'm not exactly sure. But either way, these are just tiny things that irritate me. However, this is not my fault. This is nothing that I did, and it's nothing that I can do. This is just an example of Amazon's quality control, and I have heard other authors say this kind of thing, like when they order a lot of their own books to sign them. They see a lot of their own books lined up together and they can notice the inconsistencies. And it's very frustrating that it's not more consistent than it is, but at the same time I am grateful to Amazon for even giving us this chance and this opportunity, because without them this wouldn't be a reality. And I realize that it's probably also the case with TradPub, but every single book that is printed is probably not going to be the exact same. But it's just a small thing that irritates me, but I have no control over it, and so I really can't stress about it. I just have to let it go. And again, it's a very small thing, and I'm probably the only person that would notice, unless somebody bought multiple copies and noticed the inconsistencies that way. But if you just buy 1, you're probably not going to notice, and I don't think anybody's going to care as much as I am going to care. But that was just something that I noticed that I think is worth putting out there. I have not put the book on Ingram Spark yet as of the filming of this video, and I've not received, obviously, an Ingram copy. So I don't know if that would be any better or any more consistent. I have heard horror stories about Ingram Spark, like starting the book on chapter 2 or something, which is an obvious huge mistake. And if that ever happens to any of my customers, I would be horrified. So let's hope that that doesn't happen, but we will see. Like I said, this is all just a learning process. This book is very much the guinea pig. I hate saying that because it sounds bad, but at the same time, one of the books had to be, and the plus side is that all of the things that I'm learning with Lightbringer, I can apply to every single book that I publish after this. I will know the things that I learned here. Like, for example, I just recently formatted the ebook version because there were some mistakes in there that I needed to take out that I came across when formatting and uploading the paperback version, and my goodness, the ebook was actually harder to format than the paperback version. I learned Amazon does not like PNG files. The images that were on the inside, like my publisher logo and the little gate icons that are on the chapter pages, those were PNG images apparently, and they wanted JPEG, and they were unaligned on the preview, and I had to replace them and, you know, fix all that stuff, and it was something of a nightmare, but I think we've got it. I'll have to go through the entire preview of the ebook just to make sure that everything's okay, as well as this, because I did change something. It was so minor, I don't foresee it impacting the actual physical copy at all, but I will go through the entire preview again just to be sure, because this is me. This is what I do. I have to be thorough. I have to make sure it's the way that I want it to be, because I physically cannot put something out there for consumption that is anything less than what I want it to be. So I think that's all the updates that I have for you guys in regards to this and the proof copies and all that stuff. So by the time you're seeing this, I'm sure the book is up for pre-order. The links will be down in the description box below. If you're interested in checking it out, I would very greatly appreciate it. And of course, if I haven't done that already, I will have more videos about this book specifically. I'm not sure what order I will be uploading this in, but regardless, that is all I have for you guys in this video today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future content. I appreciate each and every one of you. I will see you in the next video, and Lightbringer is available for pre-order out May 9th.